Hello everybody, we're going to get into this. It's a pretty big deal. For the rest of my week, I'm pretty busy with online forums, but I want to get this done for everybody as a follow-up in great detail. I'm just going to wait for everybody to log on. Then I'm going to have a seat and go through the presentation. Just going to give my mouse a wiggle here. See, people are coming on. Hopefully I come into the focus here. Hello everybody, I see people are coming on. I want to go through the first slide, which is what you'll find when you go on Canada.ca, and it's under travel, quarantine and borders, travel restrictions Canada. It says find out if you can travel to Canada, citizen without symptoms entering Canada. And I filled out the online survey as an immigrant, and it said you indicated that you are a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident of Canada, a person registered under the Indian Act, or protected person. Now, we're focusing on here a permanent resident of Canada. That's someone who's an immigrant. They don't have to have a place to live here. They don't have to have anything. They don't even have to have lived here before. Not showing symptoms consistent with COVID-19. Entering Canada. Based on your answers, you can enter Canada. That's where we get started here, but we're going to go through more. Now, I went and pulled this. It says population projections. This is right on the Canada website. July 10th, 2020, this summer. As I told you, the June 30th, I had those stats, but this report came in. This is all part of the Agenda 2050. You can see up here, population projections for Canada 2018 to 2068. Also, technical report on mythology and assumptions 2018 to 2043. This report is done basically telling you what their plan is for Canada and specific provinces. And before I go any further, as we go through this report, Alberta is absolutely on the absolute block of the most radical immigration in all of Canada. Justin Trudeau and CPC, Liberal and CPC, have jointly targeted Alberta. It's the vast recipient of all new immigration, okay? Right here we have birth, life, and growth rates going up, and I know it's hard to see. We get into 2021, this is the change. This is Trudeau's mark. These lines, and as you go through this, they're saying we have to up immigration, massive numbers. The only viable place to do that is Alberta. That's where we get into the doubling the big cities. They want to double Calgary, they want to double Edmonton. It's the Agenda 2030, where they get into the 2 million cities. And for Calgary, it's 3 million. 2 million for Edmonton, 3 million for... It's absolutely all written out in this report that was released July 10th, 2020. Now, this is an important slide out of that report. I pulled this to absolutely show all of you. So the survey was done in 2018. This has just been published July 10th, 2021 and made public for every Canadian. I missed this. I've been busy with a lot of other things. What it says here is current domain of work respondents of the survey of experts on future demographic trends, meaning these guys and who answered for the Liberal Party and CPC, who decided how our immigration's going to go. Number one in Canada, it was academics. They've got a portion of the pie of who got to respond to this and make all the decisions. Was almost a good 42% academia. Government officials were the next largest share of the say in this, and they represent a little under 30%. Non-profit, research and policy, civil societies were 10%. Private sector was the lowest at 8%, and retired Canadians made up a chunk of 15%. Do you know who's not in this survey and got to make all the decisions on our immigration policies? All of you. None of you, unless you work for government or an academic paid by government. You were retired, meaning they gave you a sample of how your pension's going to go unless they do this radical immigration. Of course, private sector, because they want to pay less, so they needed cheaper wages. And of course, nonprofit research and policy, all foreign interests. That's who got to decide this. Not you, not me, not any working Canadian or any family. And it had nothing to do with radical unemployment that we're experiencing now. Very little is going to change when COVID-19 ends, this 1-year reset they're doing. Very little, if anything at all, is going to change in unemployment. If anything, it's going to get worse with the radical immigration. And that's what it really is, radical. So right here, this is right off of Canada's website. You can all look at it. Population projection for Canada by province 2020 to 2043. Ontario, it grows by a margin, not very big at all. Quebec hardly moves at all. BC does move up about a fifth. But right here, the biggest increase is going to be Alberta. Targeted by far in all of Canada is to see the whopping percentage. Alberta's going to see a 30% near increase in its immigration. More than what we have now. We're going to be a full third larger than what we are now, and it's absolutely going to be to replace Albertans, because Alberta has a problem that it wants independence. So their mission between now, 2021 and 2043, is to make sure Alberta's population has gone up by literally a third, which will be 2.5 million more people in Alberta. And they're not going to be of any country of primary language English. It's absolutely all going to be foreign civil law socialist countries that will absolutely have no respect for democracy as we see it. They're going to have a different system altogether. Alberta will not be the province it is today in less than 20 years. We get into this because you look at every other province, there's nowhere near that kind of increase. You see 3.5 million to Ontario, but with a population of 14.6, it hardly changes any effect at all. Quebec, by large margin, gets the least amount of immigration because of the French. They only see 1 million and 8 million. It's about 1/8, the least in all of Canada. Alberta is absolutely targeted by a vast majority of all immigration directly to Alberta, the large bulk of it. This is what they're doing. It's absolutely to end independence. I believe if we don't have a viable separation party for Alberta by 2023's election, it is literally going to be impossible. You won't even recognize Alberta by 2030, and you're definitely not going to affect any kind of change for the province of Alberta. This is absolutely partisan federally by all the parties to absolutely implement a massive, massive socialist overhaul. Civil law socialism. All countries of immigration primarily that are going to be coming to Alberta are absolutely through all civil law socialists. They don't want any kind of democracy here. They definitely don't want to see an end to the absolute illegal constitutional monarchy. They want to keep that crown power that is illegal worldwide, and they're going to do it through immigration. That's the plan. An absolute slavery of the workforce. We're going to watch all of our unemployment continue to rise, wages go down, and this is absolutely the war on Canada, and specifically Alberta, for the next 22 years. That is a fact. And by 2050, Agenda 2050, Alberta will be nothing anymore. They also go on in another report. I don't know if I have that slide on here. No, I don't. That's the end of my slides. I should have brought forward how in the report, in that Canadian report released to all of you, that's how cocky they are now, that it's going to be Alberta and Ontario who will absolutely have over half the population of Canada combined. Meaning they'll be able to usurp Quebec, but unfortunately for Alberta, they will just fall in line with Ontario. The target is absolutely Alberta and Ontario to be against the rest of Canada. Anybody with any of the French ideals, to go into population, more on this chart I should have brought forward here was First Nations. They're absolutely to be wiped out by this point. 22 years, the population of First Nations in Alberta, meaning the largest population in all of Canada, resides in Alberta. But under a population of 6.6 million, guess what? First Nations will absolutely be the lowest minority, absolutely, in all of Canada. From top of all provinces and territories, they're to be at the bottom at that rate of immigration. Absolutely, completely targeted to Alberta, to usurp BC and come just under Quebec. That's the reality. And as you can see at the other provinces, the ratios are so small. It's literally like none of it. The immigration is 1 in 30 ratio. We're 1 in 3. There is literally British Columbia 1 in 6, Quebec 1 in 9, Ontario 2 of 8. Sorry, 1/4, I guess. But that's the mission impossible here. That's what they're doing. These are real numbers, real publication as of July 10th this year. They want to absolutely end Alberta independence. If we don't have a viable party in the 2023 election, it's game over. Thanks for tuning in today. I hate to bring this news to you, but it's kind of funny. It all started with my inability to line up the numbers when it came to the purchases in real estate here in Alberta in such a tremendous high unemployment with absolute so many business bankruptcies. We're already experiencing the replacement. And likely by 2030, if I follow the business trends, which will be next, we'll find out how many Alberta-based domestic businesses now won't exist by 2030 and how many foreign business startups will have replaced absolutely all of them. And what is our vast amount of provincial deficit that absolutely blows everybody in the world away? This one region, Alberta. Tell me that that's not foreign funded. Tell me that Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, and Jagmeet Singh are absolutely not corrupt. Because the answer is they are. So is Green Party, so is the rest of them. They're all absolutely looking to bleed Alberta dry. That is absolutely every last drop of blood. That's a fact. An absolute attack on Alberta. Not justifiable anywhere in the world, and there is no immigration rate that can even be compared to anywhere else in the world. Not even close. Not even close. We've already blown away records of refugees in the entire world. Canada has. But guess where they're all predominantly going? The absolute abundance of transfers to Alberta. That's what's happening. We're getting taken over. We're getting extincted. And so will be the First Nations. Their claims in Alberta and any hope of ever getting a settlement will be gone inside of 9 years. First Nations will have zero voice. You will have been eradicated in any kind of world voice, any kind of view. And UNDRIP is absolutely set to remove the Indigenous people. They haven't stopped the malicious attack. Now it's domestic Albertans and First Nations. This isn't crackpot. This is all right off the government site. This is just how comfortable they feel sharing all this. For all of you, they waited almost 2 years. And, well, 2.5 years actually. And it's amazing that real estate led me here today on something I just couldn't imagine. Thanks for joining me. Absolutely share this out. Get it out to everybody. It's so very, very important. Bye now.